Hello, people. We are back at A2TP podcast, episode 173, and we are back with another episode of us, your boy International Walt.
It's your girl Tosh, the co-hostess with the mostest.
And we are out there on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Podcast Index, Podchaser, Google Podcast Player, FM. What's up, people? Let's get right to it. Co-hostess with the mostest. How are you?
I'm doing good. Mentally, I'm a 9. I'm a 9. I feel good. I feel great. I have un poquito anxiety. How do you say anxiety in Spanish?
I don't know. Gotta look
Anxietito?
it up.
It's like, no, I made that up.
Wow.
But yeah, that was
Anxietito. That was racist.
Racist?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we say vacacione.
That's not racist. That's a joke.
Okay. I don't know how to say it. I feel good though. I feel great. I have a little bit of like, I don't necessarily want to say anxiety, maybe a little nervousness. You know, we have some plans later in the month for our babies to come, and already in my mind I feel tired. Like, you know, we ain't used to a regimen with kids.
Just
and
keep
all
that energy over there, please.
No, and I'm looking forward to it. I just, you know.
No, I'm just saying the anxiety, the fucking, like, just keep that energy over there, that battery, like, keep it over there. They coming.
I'm not talking about the anxiety of them coming. I'm just mean of once they're here. Like, we're not used to that regimen of like having
and I'm
kids.
glad I go to work.
Yeah, of having kids in the house.
Glad I go to work.
You know, I don't know what time they get up in the morning. You know, feeding more people, I mean, they old enough. I don't necessarily have to keep them occupied, but you know, I might need some me time. And when you get home, have to, you know, hand over the reins.
No, when they go back home, that's your me time.
The other auntie, Snoop already said she is not participating. Like, and she said she'll visit, but she ain't taking a couple days.
she has to participate.
No, I mean of like, you know, hey, can you come there for a night or two?
Oh.
She was like, nah, I'll come visit, but like I don't want no parts of like the whole. She feels kind of the same way. Like she ain't used to that regimen of, you know.
People got lives. I mean, you know, we love the kids, but you know, it's a adjustment. Definitely a fucking adjustment.
But I mean, May being here and knowing like, you know, it's so again, I'm not like, it ain't crazy like making me feel crazy, but it's creeping up and it's like, oh, gotta prepare. Like, and I know y'all parents out there, y'all like, girl, that's everyday life, but not for us. It hasn't been. So but I'm looking forward to it. But I'm a 9. Financially, we're a 9. God blessing us continually. I'm forever grateful. Work is a 9. Work is really good. Busy, very stretched right now. So lost one team member, you know, good reason, she got a promotion. So it leaves me 3. I got another team member that's on vacation for a week and a half in Spain. So it leaves me 2. Then I got another team member who will be out for the remainder of this week, beginning of next week, which I would have never approved considering the other one being gone. But when it was approved, I didn't know that I would be short a team member, you know, that the girl, you know, that somebody would be getting promoted. So it's like, yeah, you know, but we're going to make it do what it do. And I have a great team, but, you know, I got a lot of work on my plate. But work is a 9. I'm grateful. And then physically, I'm an 8. I feel good. My nose has cleared up, thank God, because allergies were kicking my behind. I
feel sorry for y'all who deal with that shit.
And you know that
I love the smell of cut grass.
That hasn't been like my thing, but it was like the season change. Boom, like my nose was running like a faucet, and then finding medicine was like kind of difficult because everything was geared towards like sinus, this congestion, this, and I wasn't congested. Everything was flowing out of me, so it's like, how can I shut off the faucet? But, you know, I think I found something that worked. Medicine is crazy expensive.
People been saying that for a decade.
But again, that hasn't been our world, thank God. So I haven't had to buy. And this was the generic medication was like starting at $18 for like the smaller box and then going up. I'm like, shit, thank God that's not like a part of our regular life where we had. And the biggest one they had was $54. Like, that's a lot. But, I mean, you got to do it. I know there's some homeopathic solutions, and I'm all for that. in the case that
I'm not.
you have the patience. But
Yeah,
when you
I'm
need
about
your
say,
nose
you
to
need
stop
your shit
running,
to open up now.
you need,
I need the white people medicine. I'm hell with
yeah.
that shit.
Yeah. Like when you needed to work, you needed
I
to
need
work.
Western medicine, like the shit on the shelf or behind the counter, whatever. But give it to me.
Yeah, and I mean, and then also, I got some plans for myself physically because I don't want to make any excuses about not being able to do the things that we've been doing, and I want to stay on track. So I'm gonna keep those things under wrap and just do it and not talk about, like, not keep it under wrap from you, but you know, I don't want to necessarily talk about it. I just want to be about it, and just do what I gotta do so that I can feel my best self. I feel good. I was talking about this with some people today, like working out, and you just really feel good. And when you don't for a little period of time, like I was telling them, our regimen, like we do the 25 minutes on the treadmill, or sometimes it may change up, but 25 minutes cardio, mostly treadmill. Then we break out into other activities. And when we go on regularly, that 25 minutes on the treadmill, like I don't love the treadmill, but it feels like nothing. If you don't go for a while and you go back, that 25 minutes feel like an hour. It's like your body really gets used to it, and you feel good, whether you feel like going or whether or not you know, or you like feel like whatever it is. You may not mentally be in the space, but once you do it and get in the habit of it, you really feel good and feel the difference. So just got to work out some things in my life to make sure that I can stay on the straight and narrow.
Cool.
Yeah. How are you? You got something going on here. Oh, a scrunchie falling out.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah.
It's not stretchy.
Yeah, it's like kind of done.
Lost its elasticity. Mentally, I feel good. I feel like a big fat 9. I feel better.
Good.
I was a little bit down. I don't want to get into it. We probably will off camera, but
okay.
When you are busy with work, you are a different person. I don't necessarily like that person. So that's just it. But I do feel better. So I feel like a big fat 9 mentally. Finances is a 8.5. I want to leave extra room for God to send more blessings down. So, you know, just leave a little extra room for some sprinkle. Work is a big fat 9. Because we're winding down. I got to take some more videos. A lot of finished work has happened. So the video should look different. I can't wait to see when all this is cut together from beginning to end, how it looks.
Doing like some side by side.
Yeah, like just to see how it looks. But yeah, getting closer to the end. Glad I don't have to take this drive and just the stress of of this job. So that's something I'm looking forward to. Physically, I feel like a big fat 9, nueve. Because, you know, just working out. I missed you at the gym.
I know.
The last,
3 days.
3 days or whatever. But, yeah, so you're kind of like you're just kind of like a accountable partner.
And it feels good when we're together. When I look over at you and I try to keep up with your momentum and stuff, it feels good. I gotta get my life together. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with the physicality. Wows and woes, ups and downs, stops and goes, blacks and whites. Niggas and whites. I'll say my woe was this week I received I don't even know if I want to call it a gift, but I received some of my grandfather's ashes. He was cremated when he passed away. And, now, like, in this world, and I don't think it's anything new. Well, no, I know it's not. Like, they have different mechanisms by which you can have ashes of a loved one provided to you. And I had the choice of, like, a necklace, which I didn't think was practical. Like, I know I don't want to wear that every day, or just wouldn't.
You put the burden of wearing it every day, and then, God forbid, you lose it. Now that's pressure on you. It's like, why even do that?
Yeah, or a mini urn. I have never I had an aunt who I loved tremendously. She was the first person I think that I'm aware of that was like cremated. And so, but I've never came in contact with somebody's ashes or things like that. And it was just a very weird feeling for me. The urn is like very small, about an inch and a half.
Yep.
Yeah, very small. It's inside of this very nice, almost looks like a heart jewelry case that has a light when you open it. A very nice presentation, but it was just like the feeling hitting me of like a whole entire being, a human with 2 arms, 2 legs, 10 fingers, 10 toes. Even though my grandpa had 9.5 fingers, he had an accident back in the day. He cut off half of one of his fingers, so he had 9.5 fingers. You know, his eyes, ears, nose. I'm not sure about his teeth. I don't know if he had teeth anymore, but like
burned anyway.
Yeah, but like just a full human being, and it's like this is what's left of like that person that I hugged, that laughed, that loved me, that, you know, see me that, you know, you think about certain people in your life who have known you your entire life until, you know, this point. And like, he's one of those, like, it ain't many people, like your parents, your grandparents, like the people who, you know, were there before you, who've known you. And it's like, that's it. That's all that's left. That was like a whoa for me, because it was like, I'm grateful to have this, and not in any disrespectful way, or like put it away. Like, I don't even know what my interaction is going to be with this, because it's a very eerie. I haven't even looked in that direction again, because where it is on the shelf, it's just a very eerie. It's not eerie. That's not the right word. It's just a very weird feeling that I don't know what. It lands on you. And I don't know what I expected, but I wasn't expecting to feel how I felt when I seen it. Like, I was not expecting that. I think I'm grateful, because without that, I wouldn't have anything of him. Like, I would love to have like one of his old caps or something. I think that probably would have been enough for me. Like, my grandpa always wore caps. He always wore button-down plaid shirts. Like, I would have loved to have something like that of his. And the thing is, like, you know, family dynamics and all that, I don't even want to call nobody to make no request for any of that. But it's like, I would have loved that. But the ashes, like, when people say you feel that feeling like, take your breath away, it was like, now what? Like, what am I supposed to do with this? Because I don't know what to do with this. And we had our dog cremated. We had a dog that passed away. And I don't know, I didn't necessarily feel the same. It was in a very nice presentation, a box. But yeah, so I don't want to belabor the issue, but that was my whoa. My wow is just, I'm just going to say us, you know. I could feel your spirit. You know, I've been asking you for the last couple of days, like, what's wrong? I knew you weren't yourself. And I still don't completely know. Like you said, we'll talk about it. But I'm just grateful for God blessing us to be together, to see each other, to feel each other, love each other through whatever the things are that we love each other through. And I'm just grateful for that. I never, ever, 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 ever want to take that for granted. And I'm just grateful for that.
God bless us. My wow is that I learned something. And just to piggyback on what you said, when Jimmy's ashes, they showed up. So I saw it in the mail, and I was thinking, damn, like, I saw, you know, your mom's name on it. And I was like, I want to open this, like, make sure there ain't no anthrax or nothing in it. So I don't want to just give it to her.
My sister mailed it, but...
And then you was working. Well, I can't tell people's
handwriting. I know.
I'm looking, and I'm like, damn, like, you know, let me make sure, like, no powder come out when she opened this. So I opened the first package of it, and looking at it, I kind of knew what it was, but I didn't want to, like, open it, because I thought, like, it would be a moment for you. And what I learned was that the feeling that you described is the same feeling I had when I saw my grandmother's tombstone. Like, once I saw her name on the tombstone, it was like that was like the completion of it. Like, it was like,
finality.
Man, yeah, like, it really not here. It really sinks in that, you know, her name is chiseled in this stone forever, and this is where she lays at. So I learned that I never thought about the urn that way. If I had a million chances, I never would have guessed you would have reacted like that. And it made me upset. Even when I was telling my friends at work, like, you know, it made me upset to see you react in that way. But it was like, damn, I never even thought about the way, like, your perspective of it. Like, a whole person now is just a little bit of ashes. And it was like, damn, like that really hit me. And I thought about that all night. I thought about that the next day at work. I was talking to my friends about it, and it was just like, damn, like I learned something there, that it's kind of the feelings run parallel. And just to see you work through it, I was glad I was there for you. That's part of my wow, is that I was there for you to, you know, console you, or just be there. I didn't say nothing, just was quiet, but just next to you, just in case you needed me. And that whole situation was a learning experience for me. And it's just one more reason why I love you. It's because of the things that we go through, the things that we endure together. Just brings me closer to you. And that was my wow and my woe. It's like, damn, I never saw it from that perspective. Not that I ever dealt with a person's ashes, but when you described it, it was like, oh shit, like that's the same feeling I had going to go see my grandmother, and her stone was there. And it was like, once I saw her name, it was like, holy shit, like this is the finality of it. Like this shit is real. And I guess like that's what you were saying when you saw the ashes. Yeah,
because it was just kind of like, like almost in a laughing way, but nothing funny about it. Like, this it? Like, this it? I love this whole giant person, and this it? Like, and it can fit in the palm of my hand.
Like he was, like everybody had a little bit who loved them or whatever, but even a whole person like is an urn like this, like a kid. So it's like a whole 6-foot person that was almost 200 pounds is going to come down to this. And it's like, that just, you know, it makes you look at life a little bit different. It just makes you look at this thing we're in a little bit different. Like the body that we're in a little bit different.
When they say ashes to ashes, dust to dust, we like literally.
It really can be that way. I mean, you could let the worms eat you, or you could, you know, get burned up.
And not to like, you know, harp on death. You know, we had this conversation, both of our grandmothers being deceased, and I have accompanied you to visit your grandmother's grave, and you have made the offer to do the same for me. And I can tell you, you know, your grandma passed away almost 3 years ago, so 2.5 years ago, right? 2.5 years ago. My grandma passed away almost 20 years ago. You have been to your grandmother's grave site the same amount of time that I have, and I know you'll continue to visit in that 2.5 years than I have been in 20.5, almost 21 years. Like that.
It's not
that
easy.
Name on the stone, like it makes me angry. I remember having that anger feeling of when I went. It was like, why is your name here? Like, it is not supposed to be here like that. And I know that's a selfish feeling because we all die, we all pass away, and this is not taking anything away from the people that regularly visit their loved ones' grave sites. I'm saying it's something about me. Like, I don't know if I'm the coward, or like I can't deal with it. So, and then it's like 6 in one hand, half dozen the other. I always thought to myself, a family member being cremated and like being in your home, on your shelf, or whatever you want to do with it, may be an easier thing than going to the cemetery. But
for some people, I mean, and we can get off this subject. We don't want to bring it down before we start, because we got some laughter. But when the last time I went, like, this guy was sitting in a lawn chair watching Wheel of Fortune and playing music.
Like he was just with his loved one.
Like for, you know, he could have been out there 6 hours, but he was just chilling. He wasn't crying. He was just like laughing, watching Wheel of Fortune. And then after a while, he started playing music. So it's like, it depends on the person. And he might need that once a week or once a month or however often he goes. So there's an interview going around. I don't know if you saw it, but Amanda Seales did an interview, right? So, and I don't want to get in too much trouble with this, but let me get my shit off. So Amanda Seales did an interview with Club Shay Shay with Shannon Sharp. And she gets on there, and the first night, it's a 3-hour interview. The first 90 minutes is so contentious. Like, so contentious about just like how like she's just angry.
So it's not between her and Shannon, but
no,
just
it's
about,
between her
like,
and Shannon because of the questions I guess she thinks he's asking and how he's wording them and the pushback on her answers. So it starts to get a little contentious. Then after a while, you can tell there was an edit where it cuts and then kind of goes back, where you can tell that Shannon now isn't pushing back on her answers. He's kind of just letting the interview just go.
Okay.
But in the beginning, she talks about how, you know, there was racism when she was a child, and she's always been this boisterous, and people label her as an angry black woman, right up there with like Monique and stuff like that. And it's of course, it's a sin to call a black woman an angry black woman. Like, it's kind of like a trigger for some people. But she just went on, and we know Amanda Seales from, you know, for 20 years, that, you know, the time that she's been in entertainment, and know that kind of has been her shtick. That's kind of has been the word about her, that she's difficult to work with. She talked about the stuff about how for 5 seasons, her and Issa Rae didn't speak on a set of Insecure, and like just all this difficult stuff, like, and wherever she went, there became a problem. And it's like, you could tell in the interview that this is a woman who is angry at, I don't know whether it be her, how life turned out, how the industry looks at her, how black media looks at her. But it's one of them situations where it's like, you need to be pulled aside and explain that you're the common denominator. Like, it's not everybody else. It's probably you. If all these situations, I mean, she explained, like, she explained a situation when she was in school, in grade school, where she talked back to a teacher, and because the teacher was white, she brought race into it. And because Shannon didn't see it that way, she gave him some pushback. So it was like, I'm a student, and you're talking about the slaves were from somewhere and that they wasn't, and I'm correcting you, and you're telling me to shut up because I'm a little black girl. And Shannon's response was, well, that if you black, white, or green, a teacher doesn't like to be corrected by a student. So, like, how do you tie race into that? And that pushback ignited her anger. So it's like, when is it okay to say to a black woman, hey, you're angry? Like, that's not always a insult or a moniker that you have on you or something, or saying that you're difficult. But sometimes in certain situations, a la Amanda Seales, Monique, it might be you, and it's okay. It got to be okay to tell a black woman, a sister, a black man, or whoever in our community, hey, like, you might be a little angry, and that's not a bad thing. But when is that okay without a black woman taking offense to that?
So I agree with you that there are people who are the problem, like, or appear to be the problem because they're the common denominator. And my first answer changed, because at first I was going to say, I think it's always okay. It doesn't mean that they're going to accept it.
Right.
But I think, you know, if that's how you feel. But I had to pull back a moment, because I'm going to pull my tools out my toolbox that I learned from therapy. Anger is a secondary emotion. So just telling somebody they're angry, it's never going to solve the problem. It's going to further infuriate them. So I think it's more so you got to kind of peel back the onion and figure out what really is the problem. Like, okay, you appear to be angry. Maybe they don't see it as anger, because to them, they may not feel angry, even though it's being displayed that way. Maybe they're frustrated. Maybe they're disappointed. Maybe they're sad.
Childhood trauma. Any
of those things they could be, and those are being interpreted or demonstrated as anger. So it's kind of like, I know you say you hate when I compare stuff to us, but you know how sometimes you may say to me, like, why you so like, why am I being angry about something? And I might say, like, I'm not, because to me, I don't feel angry. Right. Now, I may not realize what I'm putting off comes across as anger. My emotions could be something completely different. So maybe that's why it's hard for some black women, or anybody who, because, you know, it bothers me when you tell me I'm being angry, and it's like, no, I'm not. Like, I know the emotions that I have, and anger isn't one of them. But again, I can't see from the other side. That's what it looks like. So I think that's, it's like, when I'm
telling you that's my perspective of how the energy that you're giving off now.
Right. And if I'm saying, no, you're wrong, it's because I know I don't feel angry. So then it's a matter of, okay, well, how are you feeling? Because this is how it looks. It looks like anger.
It's presenting like that.
So for black women who kind of take some opposition to being identified as angry black women, I think because it's kind of just like brush stroking their issues with just a generic brush stroke, where everybody may not be angry. It may present as that, but it's almost like take a moment to see what's really wrong with me. Don't just automatically brush it off as I'm an angry black woman. Some of us might be sad. Some of us might be frustrated. Some of us might be disappointed. Some of us might be hurt. Some of us might be afraid. So the emotions may present as anger, but don't just generalize everybody as an angry black woman.
Right. That's where I think it's malicious. But I think in some aspects,
I don't necessarily think it's malicious.
No, because
I think it's
like every time a black woman has an emotion like I'm scared or I'm afraid or I'm frustrated or I'm disappointed or hurt, it can come off like that. But you're wrong to say, hey, you're angry.
She's just being an angry black woman.
So that's what I mean. When it's malicious, it's wrong. But when you sit back and it's like, okay, like everything that you said in your life has been negative. Every spot you landed has been negative. Like, and it's kind of like you. Like when is it okay for any of your friends or parents or anybody to say, hey man, like, not necessarily you angry, but you coming off angry. And I personally think, and this has something to do not just with black people, but I think it's more with black people. She's super duper smart. And I think educated people, when you constantly are up here with your education and how you speak to people, like she can always come off condescending because she speaks from a level of education that's up here. And that's great that you're super duper smart, and most people in the world that you talk to are not
at the same level of intellect.
So you're trying to come off with a idealism to like, and they don't understand, and that's getting you frustrated. And then she put out there, which I think will be a new buzzword, is that, because this isn't the first time I heard this isn't black or white, this is a couple people I heard say, like, when you're smart like that and intelligent like that and have intellect like that, she's on the spectrum. So it's like, now I'm on the spectrum, and she said on the show, I've been diagnosed. So Shannon pushed back like, yo, have you been clinically diagnosed? And just because you smart, like, can't you be real smart and not on the spectrum?
Absolutely.
And she was like, yeah. So then she does a live the next day and says she wasn't clinically diagnosed, she's self-diagnosed. And I'm just saying, like, this is one of them things that people are going to attach to, because it's like, look at me as autistic, and I'm not like nonverbal or on the spectrum where it's like, you need help with assistance. I'm super, super educated and smart, and I'm somewhere on the spectrum, because she said what she thinks she has used to be called Asperger's. Okay. And now it's called on the spectrum disorder.
Right, because Asperger's...
Autism spectrum disorder is what it's called.
Because Asperger's has been kind of like, for lack of better words, a subdivision of... It's like, okay, this is the spectrum. It's been a branch.
But it changed. The stigma changed because it's what Rain Man had. And they said it in the movie. He had Asperger's. But if you was like Rain Man, you would think they're going to treat you different. But you know what I mean? You're not functioning on your own. Right.
But see, I think the reason why they may have just included it in the spectrum disorders, because why differentiate it? Because it still is a spectrum disorder. So just the fact that, there may be some different tweaks about Asperger's than other people where they may fall on the spectrum, because the spectrum can be those people who are completely nonverbal, who lack the intellectual abilities, just because of their developmental stage where they can't learn. And then you can have those people who are extremely intelligent, but almost to the point where it kind of separates them from society.
Right.
Because they're so smart, they can learn. We saw a story about a gentleman on the news, like it was a bad story of him being attacked violently, but he was about to be a college graduate. Now, if you heard him speak, you wouldn't think that he had the intellect. That boy can be a genius, but it's just something about his development that's different than most people's. So I wouldn't necessarily, I don't like the fact that she's saying I'm self-diagnosing, because what people start to do is to water down.
What I don't like is she lied, and that's what I'm saying. That's what made me think you're trying to attach yourself to this thing where people look at you like, oh, that's why she's been like that. It's because she's on the spectrum. But like, after all these years, that's why she's been difficult. That's why she's been demonstrative. Is because she's on the spectrum. And then all of a sudden, when people question a clinical diagnosis, it's like, no, I self-diagnose because her reason was when you're grown, you got to pay $10,000 to be diagnosed of autism. And I'm not paying that because it's like a test you can go online to take that'll tell you you're autistic.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it is. I don't know, like, the logistics about the testing and stuff for adults versus children. But I feel like you said, people start to use those labels. Like, autism has become a bigger recognized condition than
it used to be.
I think before they would just mark children as being mentally challenged without realizing some children do have the ability to learn. They may learn differently. I heard somebody refer to it like it's not being disabled, but being differently able. So maybe we talked about this in terms of a classroom setting, right? You may have some kids that can sit at the desk and they learn like this. They can listen to the teacher. You have some kids who may need to, you go to some private schools, and I've witnessed this personally as a student and then also as an adult in a private school environment where you could have some kids sitting at a desk. Some kids can lay in the middle of the floor on a pillow, whatever is comfortable for them and nurtures their learning style. But in some schools, if you don't have that set up to allow for that, the kid that wants to, walk around in circles, they'll be marked as having a learning disability where they probably are very intelligent. They just learn differently. Right. So if you allow them, that little girl, little boy could be walking in circles around a desk, hearing everything, memorizing everything, and taking everything, and can pass the test with flying colors. They just may not have the ability to sit there with their hands folded and listen to the teacher. So again, that kind of puts them on the spectrum because their learning style differs than the traditional norms.
Yeah, we've talked about that amongst us. How we learn different. Like somebody can show me something, how it's supposed to look when it's done, and I can get it, and you not necessarily.
I need to do it.
Yeah, you need to put hands on it.
Yeah,
and
I need to do it.
If I see it, like, okay, this is the pieces of it, and it need to look like that, I'll get it to look like that.
Yeah, I need to physically do it, and then once I do it, it's like, okay, I got it. So I think with her, could I see some signs of that? But I also feel like, could it also be a cop-out of, I'm on the spectrum, that's why it's almost like nobody ever agrees with me because I'm always right. And this is another thing too. To me, it feels like, I'm smart. I'm the smartest one. I'm the smartest one in the room. I'm smarter than the doctors. So I'm just going to self-diagnose. I don't need them to diagnose me. I'm saying it. Like, how far is that going to go?
Right.
How far?
And it's like, I would think she's intelligent enough to know that that's not credible. It's no validity to you self-diagnosing. Like, if 1 million people just started self-diagnosing, I have autism, or I'm depressed, that's not how it works. Like, if you go to a doctor, your symptoms, and they'll tell you. Like, and you have money, so it's not. And again, I'm not pocket watching or anything, but I would think that you would have $10,000 because you're in the industry, you've been there for 25 years. And you sustained a career. So I would think you have $10,000 to diagnose a health issue.
Right. And let's say, take it from her, somebody who's in Hollywood, or somebody that's in corporate America. There are laws, the ADA, the I forget what it stands for, American Disabilities Act. Mm-hmm. That act requires corporations to allow provisions for people who have any type of disability. So let's say you're a person who maybe is on the spectrum and, let's just say in a corporate...
Maybe that's what she's looking for from SAG, because I'm sure they would have to be compliant with the ADA stuff.
But listen though, so this is the thing, let's say you're a person who you work an 8-hour shift and you get a half-hour lunch. And so you're supposed to be there for, the first half of your shift, you go to lunch. But because of your disability, you have to be allowed to, you need a 15-minute break, every hour or something like that. If your doctor indicates that, this person needs to be able to get up and walk around or whatever, I'm just making stuff. I've had people that reported to me where their seats had to be closer to the bathroom and they had to be allowed more bathroom breaks or, than someone else because of whatever their reason was. So, but again, you need a doctor's note. You can't come to your job and say, I did this test online last night and it says I'm on the spectrum. So now I have this disability based on the ADA. This is what you need to allow me to do. You're going to need a doctor's note. So she's saying that she's self-diagnosed because she's an adult and blah, blah, blah. But you can't open a window for other adults to do that and thinking that they're going to be allowed the provisions of people who truly have a disability.
Right.
Like that's not going to work. So if she's looking for that from SAG, I'm sure they're going to look for some medical documentation also.
You would think that now that you said that, but it's like the perception is still there. Oh, like this is what was wrong with her. Let's treat her accordingly now because she's on the spectrum. But I think that has a lot to do with her intellect. I don't know if it's a ploy or not, but it's plausible. But I just think like black women out there, like it's malicious and mean for you to present scared, upset, frustrated, tired, for you to present in that way and somebody call you angry. That's wrong. That's malicious and that's wrong. I stand by that. But sometimes it could be like what you presenting can come off angry and somebody can misplace that, or you really can be angry. Like, I don't know what happened in life.
You can be angry about something.
What's going on with you, or you're having a bad week, a bad month, periods on, because I'm talking about women, but you can be presenting like I'm angry, and you have to be okay with somebody saying, hey, it's coming off that way. You might not feel that way inside, but whatever you're feeling, you're presenting angry.
I think the people in her life or anyone
and be okay with it, not
who cares. You have to care enough to have that conversation with her. Like you told me that what you were the impetus behind me initially starting therapy 7 years ago, the first time I went, because you were like, okay, there's some anger issues going on, which I realized in going through therapy. It was sadness, behind the reason why it was being demonstrated as anger, in conversations because of me trying to suppress that sadness. But it was like deep, deep, deep sadness that I didn't realize how much it was affecting my life. But it took for you to care to say, babe, you got to figure this out.
But just think the sadness was making you angry because you wasn't walking around crying and presenting sad where I would say, oh shit, she's sad. No, you were walking around snappy, short, that kind of thing where I would think outside looking in, oh shit, she's angry about something.
Well, that's why I'm saying anger is a secondary
deep
emotion.
Down inside, the emotion is I'm sad.
Right. So you have to care enough about a person to be able, man or woman. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So you have to care enough about a person to say, hey, what's going on? Like, your response has been a little short, a little curt, like everything all right with you? Like something you want to talk about? Now, everybody is not going to do that with Amanda because we don't care. We don't care about her in that sense, in a personal sense. But the people that's in her circle, hopefully that they do. And hopefully she's receptive to it. One of the things that I have to say, and this is just Tasha's opinion about women like Amanda, about women like Monique, when you are always the common denominator, nobody's saying don't fight the good fight. But sometimes you gotta find a different way. People, there's like this thing, and we kind of talked about this a little bit in corporate America, where like black women, we have like this, it's kind of like a secret code, but the code is no more code switching. Mm-hmm. So we not going into corporate America no more. Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you. Like, no, we don't have to put on those voices anymore. We don't feel the need to have, our hair silky straight if we don't want to. We're going to wear our afros. We're going to wear our braids. We don't feel the need to wear pearls anymore. We're going to wear our hoops if we want to. We don't feel like, okay, we have to have a nice, small French manicure. We're going to wear our nails the way we want because that doesn't dictate our intelligence or our ability to do the job. So it's almost like our protest without saying, look here, I'm a black woman and I'm going to come in here with my afro because y'all going to respect me as a black woman. Y'all not like, no, it's the way you do it. Just do it. Like, just do. You don't always have to beat your chest about everything, because then it seems like you're always beating your chest about everything.
I think it's something she can't help, though. If she's put in a room with mediocre thinking people, as you know, that's not of her intellect, and somebody says something that is incorrect or needs to be corrected, I think it is a fight for her to not like say anything. Like, I gotta hold my mouth shut. I hear you saying something wrong, and I know the answer, and I know the information, and I'm supposed to sit over here and just be mute. Like, no. Like, for her energy, and I don't know her personally, but just from knowing her, I would think she cannot hold that in.
And I'm going to just say this, because I don't know either of them personally at all, so this is a little bit of fangirl in me. For you not to get along with Issa, like, she is a bomb-ass chick. She's a Capricorn. She's a boss. She's about her business. And I don't know Issa from nothing but TV and interviews. But, like, for you not to get along with Issa, you definitely are the problem.
She said that it was her responsibility to protect Issa, but now it's not. Because Issa was giving black women jobs in Hollywood, so it was her job to protect her. But now I'm going to speak on it. And because we had dinner one time to hash out the tension, and from there was no course correction.
Okay.
From the dinner. So I just shut off. Her exact words. So I stopped communicating. And they're like,
just imagine if that's your boss.
Yeah, he's like, for 5 seasons? Yeah. Like, because there was no course correct. Because she didn't act right after dinner, after you explained yourself, you stopped communicating.
Because she didn't do what you wanted her to do. But again, and I don't know Issa, and this is just my assumption from the outside looking in, girl, you were still in it until the last season, so that shows you how dope she is. Because she could have she could have killed you off the cast. You know what I mean? Like, storylines change, and she's no longer with us.
We're in a car accident. The next episode, we died.
Like, that could have went any way, but you was there till the end. Like, and it's crazy because while her name, you know, I recognize, I can't really place her. Social media has been a tool for her, whether good, bad, or indifferent, to make her presence bigger. Because outside of Insecure, I can't really put a finger. I mean, I've seen her comedy, but after Insecure, I know she's been a comedian before that, but I wasn't really checking for Amanda Seales like that.
Yeah. I mean, I know her from podcasts and the group that she's friends with. I know, like, the other friends that I watch the other friends that she's cool with, like the Charlemagne's and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, and I mean, I've seen her comedy special. She's funny. She's a talented person. And again, she's super educated, like very, very smart. But sometimes that could be a detriment, or sometimes you don't always have to speak condescending to, and maybe you think you're not, but it comes off like that, like you're speaking at people and not to people.
Yeah, and when you always think you're the smartest person in the room, you're always gonna have like beef. I was looking to see, and it's crazy. I'm 6 months older than her, and she's a Cancer. I was looking to see. I was thinking she was a Taurus, because you know, like them Taurus, the bulls, know it all, want to be in charge, think they can tell everybody what to do. But she's not. She's a Cancer, which Cancers are traditionally, I call them eggs. They have this hard exterior, but they're yolky and mushy in the inside. They just want to be loved.
Yes, I mean, shout out to Amanda Seales. I hope everything is okay with you. I just think that I just thought it was runs in parallel, because there's a moniker on black women in corporate that, you know, you're angry every time you present with an emotion. You're angry, and I don't think that's right. But sometimes, like, you really are angry, and I think it should be okay to be like, hey, it's looking like this. Whether you feel that way or not, it's looking like this. Like, you're being snappy, you're short with people, you ain't smiling, everything's a problem. Like, what the fuck is wrong? Yeah,
but again, I think the most important thing to remember for anybody, even in anger, what is really wrong?
Right.
Because, like, again, that's the secondary emotion. What is really the problem? So you're angry about what? What's going on? Like, I mean, he said shout out to Amanda Seales. I'm not giving a shout out because I ain't checking for her.
I mean, I ain't checking for it either, but I don't want nothing bad to her. Bad to happen about it. I mean, we just sat here and talked about it. So it's not like I'm not saying this in a malicious way. I just think she's angry, and somebody needs to tell her. Like, you can't have all these stops in Hollywood and the industry.
But again, we just said that. Like, it's not that she's angry. The thing is, what is wrong?
Right. But I'm saying that you're speaking to something that, from a privileged standpoint, like you got that from therapy. You don't know that. The point is, we don't know what's wrong. You could really be angry, but you're presenting angry. So that's what people are going to perceive of you until you say or get to the root, go behind closed doors, go to therapy, get to the root of it and see what it is.
Yeah, like,
I don't know if it's sadness. I don't know if it's frustration. I don't know if it's pure anger. I don't know.
But that's what I'm saying to you. It has to be one of those other things.
Because you're saying there is no pure anger.
Right. Anger is a secondary emotion. Anger is going to stem from something else. So that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah. I think that's why there's so much pushback when people say you're angry, and it's like, no, I'm not, because they may not necessarily feel that. Now, sometimes they can be like, you know what, I am angry, and this is why. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that's the conversation she needs to have, or for her to realize and be transparent and say, instead of just saying, I'm not an angry black woman, okay, well, tell us what's the problem then.
That's what I think every response would be, though. Even in your situation, that was my point. I received what you saying and saying that it's a secondary emotion, but you would have to, like, you wouldn't know that is my point.
Well, yeah. Well,
like, what did you just say?
So your anger is a secondary emotion. So why are you angry?
Right. But I'm just saying, you don't even know that yet. So it's not like you knew that you were sad. You didn't. You was just being who you was and being who you was in that time. You sat down with somebody, talked about stuff, and realized, oh, this is why it's looking like this, is because I'm sad. But when I was telling you, babe, you're angry, you wasn't thinking to yourself, no, I'm not, I'm sad.
No, but
I had no idea.
No, but I knew that I wasn't angry. And that was the thing. You kept saying I'm angry. It's like, no, I'm not.
Right.
And it's like, you're making me angry because you're telling me I'm angry, but I'm not angry. Not realizing.
I just don't know how I feel.
That's how, exactly.
Right.
Until it was like, oh, and now, like you said, it is coming from a privileged perspective, because now when I may feel angry, I do kind of stop him to myself and be like, okay, what am I feeling? Like, am I just frustrated about something? Am I disappointed in the outcome of this? Am I sad because things didn't go my way? Like, I kind of assess, why am I feeling, like, what is building up this feeling of anger, because I know it's stemming from somewhere else. So what's the root of this that's presenting as anger?
Right.
So
moving on. They say Mayweather and Tank Davis is having a little beef. Tank Davis says Mayweather can't get out of Dubai. They kidnapped him. Some prince kidnapped him. He ain't been out of Dubai in like 20 days. They won't let him leave.
Wow.
Got his plane grounded because he owed a few $100 million. Some people say Mayweather broke. Now, broke is relative because, you know, he was once a billionaire or whatever, but so he could have some cash flow problems. But a lot of people say he has a gambling issue, a real bad gambling issue. What do you think about that?
So the thing is this, though. I mean, I think the way he
went on live the other night. I'm sorry to cut you off. Went on live the other night. Didn't have no haircut. Looked like he ain't been taken care of in a few days. Was in a hotel room that looked a little fucked up in Dubai.
I mean, I can't imagine him being broke. A couple of things. The way he talks, I think, and you correct me if I'm wrong, he has spoken about, like, buying his houses, like, outright. Like, he don't owe nobody a mortgage.
Cars, fleet of fucking cars.
So you got assets. Now, the cars, I wouldn't necessarily, I mean, yeah, they worth something, but, you know, cars depreciate as soon as you buy them. So they may not be worth their original value, but there's some value. But you got homes, you have businesses. He has the Mayweather fighting clubs. He has the Girls Inc. strip clubs. So broke is relative. Promotions. Yeah, broke is relative. Like, he has assets that if he owed people, he could liquidate those assets to pay off that money.
But a few $100 million owed to a prince doesn't, you know, those guys over there have $300 million in a back room somewhere, cash.
But the way he showed money, he looked like he did.
I know, but you gambling, you can't present that kind of cash like that if you lose it. And if they not giving you an opportunity to play again or gamble again, and they want their money, and they got people to ground planes and not let you leave till you make some calls and do something. then that's a problem.
You know, you play big, you lose big.
He owns skyscrapers in New York. Like, you're right, he has assets, but the word going around is he got cash flow problem.
Again, you play big, you lose big. That's crazy. You know, I've always appreciated his hustle. I have never appreciated his bombasticness. Is that the right word? No, bombastic means you just talk a lot. The pageantry of it. Like, I've never been a fan.
Flamboyancy.
Yes, the flamboyant. And I'm not one that feels like people need to humble themselves, because I feel like that's a way of telling somebody to, like, you know, dim your light for others. And sometimes you want to shine bright, like be proud, be happy.
You know, you're a billionaire. You want to buy homes and mansions.
But he's very flamboyant, braggadocious. That's the word. I've never that was like, you know, kind of like, like you look like a sad little boy who, and don't get me wrong, I grew up, you know, not in a rich family, not, you know, we ain't had much money. So I acknowledge, like, there's some things that I do in my life where I know it's because of little Tasha, who, you know, I like a lot of coats because I ain't have a lot of coats as kids. Like, so things like that. But for him, it's like, okay, even on another level. And I get it, but heal that little boy inside of you. And that way you make your money, enjoy your family, be calm, not humble, but be calm, so that, you know, you don't become a target for so many people. If he's kidnapped, and
how fucking scared would I be if they won't let me out of Dubai?
They might have a tiger outside of his room.
He's been there for like 20 days, almost a month. Ain't like they won't let him leave.
That's a shame, because he got kids, like, you know, he got people that care about him. So I don't wish that on anybody. That's pretty sad though, if he got himself into that kind of predicament.
Yeah, that's bad. That's bad. Moving on. That's bad. AI, babe. No, let's do 3 grams. AI has a death calculator. You put in some things that may have happened to you in the course of your life. You know, I think whether you got shot, stabbed, you had kids, like all that kind of shit that you put in there. A certain amount of questions, not a lot. Weight, height, all them kind of things. Any type of illnesses that you may have. And it is 78% accurate.
I don't want no parts. None. It's almost like...
Okay, look at it from this perspective. Would you want to see so that you may do better? Like, if you knew that, okay, there's a date and it's 78% accurate, wouldn't it be some things that you would put your foot on that you may have was on the back burner, now get moved to the front burner?
The level of stress that you would feel as that date approaches.
I ain't talking about when it approaches, when it's like, let's just say it's 18 years away.
Yeah, but I'm saying, I think it's approaching every day.
I know.
So
But it's not the same feeling that it's 18 years away and it's 8 months away. That's
I know, but what I'm saying is the level of stress that you would add to your life is not worth it. Like, all the things that you may be trying to do to thinking that you're going to prolong your life, you're probably going to undo those things internally, because
cancer or some shit from struck tumor.
Yeah, a tumor. Like, and you know, something that, and not to keep bringing it back to therapy, but I love therapy and it gives us tools, and but like, your body doesn't forget. Like, that's something that I remember learning, and so you have to kind of like let go of certain things, because when you repress and hold on to those things, your body in the inside is some stuff going on, stress and all that kind of stuff causing issues, because your body doesn't forget the mental trauma. It may not have even been physical, but the mental trauma that you've endured. So adding to that, even if, let's say, it's 18 years away, you may forget the date in like 3 or 4 years and it slip your mind. But it's going to come back to you at some point. And that level of stress is not hell.
Yeah, but hopefully it comes back to you like a week, where you'd be like, oh shit, in a week. So you don't have to live with...
You probably wouldn't sleep that week.
But that's just 5 days. It's 5 to 7 days. At least you don't think about it a year or 8 months. Then you got that whole year to think about it.
The pending doom that you would have that week. You may die a day earlier than what the AI predicted just because of the level of stress you put on yourself.
It was still in the vicinity. It would go up to 79%.
Nope, I'm good.
Don't get me. I wouldn't fucking go near this shit.
Hell
I'm just saying, like, I don't know how something can be 78% accurate. And as long as this thing's been out, apparently for a couple years now, that it's been tracking people. So that's where it gets its accuracy count from.
It's a shame that many people have participated.
That's crazy. Graham too. Man, and this is crazy because of the states that you pick and choose to live in and then do crime in. Man lives in Louisiana, 50 years old, raped a 14-year-old girl multiple times, was convicted of rape and murder and sentenced to, I think, life in jail and chemical castration. So in the state of Louisiana, if certain types of rape, I read, you can be sentenced to chemical castration, and your plea deal, you cannot take the chemical castration and do a surgery instead.
Oh wow!
Where they
so either way, it's castration.
Off. Yeah, but the it's a chemical that they give you, like, I don't know, I can't even say the word, but a chemical that they give you that'll, you can...
It basically deadens the sensational desires.
I think it kills your balls. That's what castrations mean. It cuts your balls off. So if they're doing a surgery, it's not like a vasectomy.
No, I know physical castration, but chemical castration.
So it probably deadens your balls.
Yeah, probably so. I'm not mad at it.
What do you think? Yeah, what do you think?
I'm not mad at it. Yeah, I'm not mad at it.
Louisiana, Angola, like, they don't fuck around down there.
I mean, you think to yourself, you have life in prison, but,
You'll never have that urge again.
But I guess they say, just in case you get out, just in case you have the opportunity to be around a little kid, not even a little kid, just in case a boy comes in here, and you think you want to participate, like... And it's a constant reminder, too. Now, that's not to say, which is disgusting, that people can't sexually abuse people in other means, but you won't be using your private parts.
That is just crazy.
I ain't mad at it.
That's like hearing a state can still hang people, or, the gas chamber and shit like that. It's like, not that, you raising your hand for lethal injection, but it's like those things just seem so barbaric, but yet a hell of a deterrent. You want to touch little boys in Louisiana, little girls in Louisiana, they gonna, like, the court gonna cut your balls off.
Yeah. Can I add a gram?
Sure.
It's actually a talk, like, because I seen the story on TikTok. I like to stay away from TikTok sometimes because you go find yourself in a hole. But
is it a good gram? Because we can take out this gram and put in this one because it's only 3. It's not 4 grams. It's 3 grams.
I know I wanted to get this gram instead of your third one.
Okay,
I wanted to do the third one.
Okay.
And it's kind of, I don't want to like another one because it's kind of similar to the second gram. But there was a naval captain. He was a retired captain in the Navy. So, that's pretty high up, right? Mm-hmm. In Washington State. I don't want to necessarily say Seattle because I don't know for sure if it was in the city of Seattle, but it was in Washington State. He was killed by the police, and they're kind of like, they're doing some investigation to see like the scope of this. So he was involved in a sting where this mom was bringing her 2 daughters, age 7 and 11, and was going to leave them with him to do his business. He was going to pay the mom. So now again, this is a sting that the police is conducting. So he doesn't know that it's fake. So as a naval head captain, he's agreeing to this, to participate in these activities with a 7 and 11-year-old and pay the mom for this. Well, the police surprised him at the hotel. He go to pull out a gun. He ends up dead. A naval captain. And they said it goes to show he had ties to other high-ranking officials involved in sex trafficking. But the crazy thing is that this is not a national... I didn't see anything about this.
No, first time I'm hearing about it. But it's not shocking to me when you say, like, naval captain. You say that like it's shocking.
I mean,
like,
right. I say that
there's
because
fucking judges and DAs.
But he was in... This is another thing. So he was in charge, where it just makes me think... You never, we hear about, military people, and this is not painting a negative depiction of the military at all, but we hear about them being in foreign countries and stuff and doing illicit things to, citizens of other countries. He was in charge of, like, the people at Guantanamo Bay. And it just makes you think, like, what other people, what other victims are out there. He admitted to like buying prostitutes in the past, but I don't believe like this is your first time you've participated in something like this. Like not even, and not to make it right, not a 14-year-old, not a 16-year-old, but a 7 and 11-year-old, and you're a grown ass married man.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But the girl who was telling the story, she was like, this is a story that's going on here where I live in Washington. She's like, but it's not a national story. It was a white girl. She was like, and it's just crazy. And she's telling the story, and it's like, what the hell?
Yeah, that's foul.
Like, what the hell? But it's not
shocking, man. I mean, he's a captain. There's a colonel. There's a general. I'm
sure.
Yeah,
I know he's not like the highest.
All over the place. Like that's the sad part is that there's
he's one person.
Yeah, they're in every profession. There's pedophiles in painting. There's pedophiles in bus drivers. There's pedophiles. But it makes me feel like teachers.
They have like a pact or something. Because he saw the police. You go to pull out your gun. It's almost like suicide by cop, so that.
Well, you don't have to
tell anything about anybody else.
Because you know where it's headed right now. You just got caught red-handed with a fucking what do they say on Law and Order?
Adolescents.
No, what do they say? Tender age kids.
Tender age
yes. Child. You can't fight that. That's like serving an undercover. That's the kind of shit you take a plea for. Like, you can't say you didn't serve the cop. The cop, you served the cop.
And it goes to show all those, To Catch a Predator, remember that show? It's like, that show stopped, but you
once
know
they walk in the room, they turn white. And there's nothing you can say.
Like, that, it's so sad that show could go on forever and ever and ever and keep catching predators.
And they caught people from cops to pizza delivery guys.
Yep.
The whole spectrum of people they caught on that show. So, yeah, they're all over the place, man. Yeah. That's a wrap. Act 2 the podcast, episode 173. Again, you guys can catch us on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Podcast Index, Podchaser, Google Podcast, Player FM. It's your boy International Walk.
It's your girl Tosh, the co-hostess with the mostest, with a reminder to spread love. It's the Philly way.
I was going to toss it to you.
No.
But okay. If you fuck with us, you fuck with us. If you don't, you should. Peace.